Hello, everyone, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday, January 17th, 2018. I am Michael Schwahn. Nathan is not here today. It was originally that we were going to cancel today's show, and then I was convinced not to by people in my circle. So it is just me today, and for that we will be having a relatively short show. I only have 3 news topics for you today, and without someone to continuously bounce back and forth from, there's not as much conversation, and I'm not sure how much that you want to just listen to me ramble for 45 minutes, so instead I'm going to ramble for probably around 20. So that's what's going on. We are still not going to have a show tomorrow, though, because I will be going and doing stuff with the family for the kids' taekwondo, and that sits right in the middle of the time that the show normally is. And unfortunately, and then I don't know how long that's going to go, so it's going to be too difficult to plan otherwise. So, with that said, yeah, it's just me. It's just me. I've done solo shows before, but it's always interesting. So, in any case, the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about was some things that are going to be coming up for the show, because we're excited. Patreon is continuing to do better. We're continuing to grow. We're seeing growth in viewership. We're seeing growth across all platforms. Social media is doing really well. After we got some advice from some random angry person on Reddit, they came across our show and it basically asked us, like, why aren't you bigger? Why do you suck? And I was taken aback by it because, like, well, what do you mean? They're like, you have been doing this for 2 years, 4 episodes a week, have over 400 episodes, make a good product. Why are you not huge at this point? And basically, they told us that our marketing sucked. And your immediate question is, well, could you tell me more? Because, yeah, we're trying. And they gave us some advice, and we've already went up to, I think we've just broken 500 followers on Instagram when we started the year at like 60. I think it was more like started December at like 60, and we're about to crash through 1,000 followers on Twitter, and the show is continuing to grow. So thank you very much, person, for the words of advice on how to continue to manipulate the algorithms that are out Instagram and Twitter for continued growth. Someone in the chat room is asking what happened to Nathan. Nathan currently believes he has an ear infection and was going to go to a clinic today to get that looked at because he was experiencing severe pain to the point that he wasn't able to make it into work today. So there's that, and that's why he's not here, especially because, you know, headphones and noise in the ears and all that stuff. It can lead to a very amount of discomfort. I don't want to have him sit here in pain for 45 minutes, which is originally why we're going to cancel the show. And then, like I said, some people in my circle said, no, you should do the show. Do the show by yourself. You've done it before. You can rock house. So, all right, I'll rock house. The other thing is that we've had a few requests for merchandise. And when I first got into podcasting, I was told, don't do merchandise. Don't do merchandise. It is an alternate form of income, but ultimately, it is a larger pain and normally leads to a larger expense than it ever does a profit. That said, that was over 3 years ago, and the avenues available to creators today are different from when they were then. Those people that gave me that advice are people that would design a shirt, order a shirt, and then they'd get 50 copies of the shirt and have to hope that they sold all of them, and they had all the different sizes sold out. Now we have different avenues available to us to where we don't have to make the shirt, we don't have to have a certain number of them purchased or bought or anything like that, and if you are willing to accept a smaller margin in terms of the sale of the shirt, then you can go ahead and just put open products out on different websites. So we are going to be working on things along those lines to get those out to you as well. Because any way that you can support us, we are interested in so that we can continue to grow and profit. I will not deny whatsoever that it is definitely, as much as me and Nathan love doing this, making money from it is definitely a great idea, great concept, and something that we hope for. The other thing that I just learned about in terms of ways to support us is a fantastic new browser. That is what it is at its core. It is called Brave, and I've put a link into all the show notes to brave.com, and in this case brave.com/million. And so Brave, they are a new browser that wants to come to contest the browser space with things like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Edge, if you really want to try and make that argument that Edge is a browser. I guess it does let you access the internet just long enough so you can go download Chrome or Firefox. In any case, there's a few parts of Brave that are awesome. One, they have built-in ad blockers to block third-party ads, so anything that is intrusive or unwelcome, and they also they don't allow people to buy their way through the ad blocker. A lot of people for the longest time use AdBlock Plus, and then AdBlock Plus allowed people to start paying them enough money to let their ads get through their ad blocking service, and that's not cool, bro. Also, a significant number of your browsers download an immense amount of cookies. They do a lot of tracking of your activity, and that's why you can be looking at eBay for a camera and then go over to Facebook and get an ad from Amazon for that exact camera, because all of that is tracked by your browser. It is then sold off to these companies, and that's how they deliver these targeted ads to you. And Brave said, we don't want that. We're not going to do that. They don't allow people to do that. They do everything they can to block ads, block surveillance, minimize cookies. Not only does this increase your privacy, it also increases the speed of which your websites will load. So they're claiming that you'll see 2 times faster speed in terms of loading on your computer, and up to 7 times faster speed if you use the browser on a tablet device or a mobile device of any kind. The other thing that Brave is doing is they're wanting to be a platform to help support the people that you care about. The people that want, creators, especially smaller ones. They are using what is called BAT, Basic Attention Tokens. And basically, think of it as a form of currency that exists within the Brave browser that you can just give to people that are verified creators through the Brave system. We have already got ours set up. We are already a verified creator through Brave. And if you're wondering how it works, you can buy 10 BATs for $5, and they'll give you 10 tokens right out the gate if you go to brave.com/million. And then once you just verify that, then you can just give those straight to us right now. No questions asked. They'll just send us $5, and that's awesome. All you have to do is just sign up. That's it. Now, if you want to continue to support people, you can. You have that option. And you can choose to where that goes. So you can say, I want to give these people this many tokens. I want to give these people this many tokens. That's converted into a currency and then is put into a Uphold wallet that goes to us, and then we get to use that to do things like produce the show. So if you're looking for a new browser that already has a built-in ad blocker and does its best to keep you safe, minimize cookies, and increase speed, and also gives you an avenue to support people like us, if you have other YouTube creators or other people, you have to either have they have to have a YouTube account or have a website that they have the domain access to. Currently, they're looking to expand it, but if you are wanting to support small creators that fall into one of those 2 categories, make sure they have a Brave publisher account set up, and then jump into Brave, and that's a good way to support them. So if that is something you might be interested in, go to brave.com/million, download the browser, look into how you get the BATs. They actually provide links to it right there when you first open up the browser, and then you can throw that money towards us in a wonderful, supportive fashion. And I've already tried the browser out. It's pretty slick. It's pretty smooth. I will be testing it out more, but, obviously our first priority was to make sure that we could get the support from the people that would like to support us. So look for all of those things coming up soon. Brave is already out, so you can do that, and we'll be working on the merchandise side of things in the near future. We have a couple other things we're wanting to work on, but that is all way down the road, especially considering how much effort goes into every last little thing. Just trying to balance work and life and family, and then also all of the podcast production and all of that stuff. It's great fun. Great fun. So, in any case, as I said, we do have 3 news topics for everybody today. And I'm just going to basically go over what's happening, what they are, and then I will move on and get the hell out of here. So, you have to bear with me while I take a drink of water. I normally do that while Nathan's talking, but I don't have that option today. In any case, let's begin.
3.
After basically no debate and no opportunity for amendments, Senate votes to expand NSA surveillance. And this was submitted by Abscess2 to our technology. And what this is so we, over the whole Snowden controversy, we found out that the NSA, that the government was spying on us and had been for years, without telling anybody, without any reason. They were just wanted to. There was people claiming it's to reduce terrorism. And, there's a lot of people that are saying, well, of course they are. It's to keep us safe. And in terms of the argument against it is that you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to the government and when it comes to the law, you don't know what you've done wrong. Because a lot of people were like, I've not done anything. Including me, I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't care. They can look at whatever they want. I mean, aside from, I'll straight up say, I pirate stuff on the occasion. But if they want to come after me for pirating, like Season 2 or Rick and Morty, bring it on. Because, damn, if that's what you want to spend your time and money on, okay. I apologize, and I'll delete it, and, yeah, cool. Anyway. But the other problem that came into that was you don't know what you've done wrong. There are so many millions of miles of red tape that exists within the United States legal system that if they wanted to, if the government took a change, if it took a shift in a direction that is overwhelmingly negative for the people, what you could end up seeing is them coming and arresting mass amounts of people off of very vague or just completely obscure laws. We've talked about before, like the random laws of like you can't walk backwards down the street eating a hamburger in like Michigan or something like that. That's an actual law. And things like that they can, go to town with. So we found out all about that. NSA got in a lot of trouble. They ended up shutting down a lot of their surveillance programs to appease the people. And then since we now all know about it, they're like, okay, well, can we just, hey, Congress, can we do this? And Congress has basically went, yeah, sure, we don't care. It's already went through the House. It was in the Senate. They needed 60 out of 100 votes to get it through the Senate. The 60th vote came down right at the very end. It was the last vote. But what this vote is it's for cloture, which means that the bill can no longer be changed. It can't be amended. There can't be anything added or subtracted from it. So it is not passed yet. But if a bill gets voted on into cloture, then that pretty much means that it is going to be passed. And so after that, it goes to the president's desk. The president doesn't have much reason not to sign it because it's what his party wants, and he's trying to stay in good graces with them. And he also has already said that, he's pretty much fine with what they're doing, especially because they told him that it would help reduce terrorism. And that's a good buzzword for our current president. So there is very little chance that it won't go forward. And the problem with it is that it has removed the warrant requirement. They can put surveillance on you and monitor your activity because they want to. And that's they just get to open the doors and look at anything and everything that happens in America and without warrant or reason. Chadwick in the chat room says he thought Rand Paul was going to filibuster this. What was the vote total? It was 60 to 39, and could be he didn't have the option. I don't know. I don't know that Rand Paul was going to filibuster it, and maybe there isn't an option to filibuster on the cloture vote. The cloture vote. I'm sorry, I've been saying it wrong this whole time. So maybe he's going to filibuster it once it comes down to an actual vote, because this wasn't a vote to pass it. This was just a vote to say we cannot change anything about it. No additions, no amendments, no subtractions. So that's what this vote was. But it is normally very indicative of what the vote is going to be when they actually vote to pass or deny the bill. And so what this ends up meaning is that if it does get passed and get signed by the president, they're just going to we're going to go back to what the NSA was doing before the entire Edward Snowden situation. It's just the only difference now is now we're going to know that they're doing it, and Congress said that they can. If you are watching the video, I apologize for the silences while I drink water. For those with the podcast version, the downloadable version, I have cut that silence out. Chadwick says probably he's very much against this. I'd expect him to raise hell about it. Well, I mean, plenty of members of Congress at times raise a lot of hell. Like, let's look at two people that people love to just throw in the limelight all the time. That's Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Two massive bleeding hearts in Senate. And they raise a ton of just complete ruckus about issues that they're, vehemently opposed to. But ultimately, you're only able to do that for so long before they are able to push things through. So, I mean, while he could raise a stink about it, I don't know if it will necessarily prevent anything from happening because of the way that these things end up playing out.
2.
Students cheer when electricity finally restored to a school in Puerto Rico months after Hurricane Maria. So, the students in this particular school had already spent 112 days without power. And they'd been going to school in this time, and they were having school completely in the dark. And the video that is in the link here, it's a very heartwarming video as the lights flip on and all the students and the teachers are just yelling and screaming and cheering. There are teachers running down the hallways, ringing bells. It's really great to see that that a school has power again. However, one thing that I do still want to bring attention to is that Puerto Rico is still wrecked. And people, unfortunately, with the way that the mainstream media is set up, is that, oh, Hurricane Maria happened. Oh, Puerto Rico is completely destroyed. Okay, now we're going to wait until the president says something. Okay, the president went there. This is what he said. Okay, now we don't care anymore because it's not news anymore, and it doesn't get people's attention anymore. So it's important to realize that Puerto Rico is still struggling and still trying to rebuild and get its power back and get its people back because the island was completely destroyed by that hurricane. So much of the island is still without power. So many people there are still struggling, and people are still experiencing extremely negative after effects from this hurricane because there is not sufficient support for the actual island anymore. Chad was asked, did you see the story about the Power Authority hoarding building supplies? I did not. Unfortunately, I don't get to do a massive amount of research into everything. I don't have the time to do so. And besides me and Nathan, there is no one else on our team for this show. I mean, we have guests that come on or friends that come on from time to time, but they literally just show up, have a good time, and leave. So unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time to actually look into anything. Matthew Whiting asks, where's Nathan? To reiterate one more time, he has a severe ear infection, missed work today. We were going to cancel the show. I am doing it solo today. Chadwick follows it up by saying that they were basically caught stealing materials and supplies from rebuilding crews. That's a bad way to do that. But Puerto Rico is extremely struggling for supplies, especially because of things that are hindering the amount of supplies they can get, and the supplies they are getting are extremely expensive for the island. And, I mean, if one, that's wrong. Just flat out, that's wrong. Hopefully, the Power Authority is stealing those building materials for the purpose of rebuilding the power grid. I hope. But so much of the power grid is still down that maybe it's not. I don't know. But it all needs to be addressed and dealt with regardless. Really, the solution to that is to, get more stuff to them. Chadwick says, I'd be happy to help as long as you don't mind the random conservative news source. You're our conservative news source. No, jokes aside, we have no problem with the conservative media. We have a problem with sometimes what they ignore, but we also have a problem with what the left side of things ignore. Because a lot of the actual main media side of things sucks balls. And I know that me and Nathan are both more left-leaning than especially like Chadwick or McLaughlin that are very common people in our chat rooms. Nathan significantly more so than I am. I both based on what I do for a living and also for the sake of conversation on the show. I try to remain as neutral as possible. My personal beliefs do actually lean a little bit more to the left. I've had people call me a conservative liberal, which I'm not entirely sure what that means at all, but whatever. The best way to think about my beliefs in terms of politics is whatever helps people without harming other people is really what my biggest push is for. Because I just want people to be able to live their lives and be able to live them comfortably and happily. And there's a lot of things that end up happening around the world, especially in terms of government, that directly hurts people's ability to just live their lives. Especially when it comes, there are parts of marijuana that I don't like. There's parts of it that I do like. And so ultimately, though, I find the substance to be pretty harmless. When it comes to marriage, let people get married, let people be happy. If it doesn't actually harm you, sure, it may go against your beliefs, but let people live their lives. I don't care if you have guns either, as long as you're not shooting other people with them or shooting masses of peoples with them, because then you're hurting other people. That's about as far as that goes, is let people be happy, let people do what they want, as long as what they want doesn't hurt other people. Cool. And, like, unfortunately, so much of America and a good portion of the world is built on the idea of trampling people under you to raise yourself higher. And that's a lot of what I see with a lot of our government, both on local levels, state levels, and on federal levels, of people being very self-serving. And I guess a lot of what that ends up coming to is me being associated with a lot of the left side of things, with the liberal idea of things. I do like to see progressive movements because it normally means that we are seeing positive change in the world in terms of better construction, not necessarily an actual building, but like social construction, and seeing people have more access to things, things be more equal, more fair. And a universal level of equality to attempt anyway. But also the real side of me is equality. Ha 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 ha. Nah, it'll take centuries. And by the time we reach anything close to equality, it'll probably just because someone won't like it and will ruin everything, because that's what we're good at. And that's also, like, right here with Puerto Rico, is that those are American citizens, and America is not taking care of its own citizens. And that's why it's still a big deal that 112 days after losing power, the school is just now getting power again. When, you know, it took donations from Tesla of their own stuff to get there, to actually, you know, even turn a hospital's power back on, when our own government basically said, this is your guys' fault, and then just left them. Like, stuff like that is not okay on my end. Anyway, enough of harping on my beliefs and how much the world sucks. Shall we continue on?
1.
North and South Korea agree to carry a single flag at Winter Olympics and field joint women's ice hockey team. This was submitted by Shadil Garjod, all right, to Our World News. So we had talked previously about how North Korea had opened the door to conversation with South Korea, and apparently those talks are going well. Both the North and South have had a very high-class meeting between government officials from both sides, and they are now in agreement. They want to both enter and exit the 2018 Winter Olympics under one flag, and currently that flag is just a white flag with all of Korea, North and South, in blue on it. But, you know, if they get farther along, maybe they'll get a little bit more of an interesting flag, but vexology is completely different and something we don't need to talk about right now. Also part of that is that they want to field a women's hockey team that has members from both North and South Korea. Now, this is a massive move. It's great to see. It is not a new thing, though. I mean, North and South Korea have been at odds for over 70 years. In the early 2000s, multiple times across the Olympics, they entered the Olympics in a joint state under one flag, just like this. That, however, was under the previous North Korean administration, not the current one. Also, North Korea wasn't the bad guy that they are today. They were still the bad guy, don't get me wrong on that one, but they weren't the bad guy to the level that we are seeing today. Now, that said, the level of information, even just from the last 15 years that we have available to us, is significantly different. So, that's what they're hoping for. Now, this is not what's going to happen yet. Because they have put forth the statement of, we would like to appear under one flag, we would like to have this joint team, but the Olympic Committee, they actually have a name, but my brain could not tell you what it is, has to approve it. They have to review what North and South Korea have offered, have put forward, and then if they approve it, then they can do this. Now, Chadwick says Japan isn't very happy about it. A lot of people aren't very happy about it. The United States, of course, isn't happy about it. We asked South Korea to not engage in those conversations with North Korea when North Korea suggested them. The South Korean president, Moon Jae-in, basically said, I'm going to go talk to them because I'm real tired of having our worst enemy be our northern border. Thanks, bestest friend United States, who wants to, you know, dictate everything we do, but we're also our own people, and we'd like to, you know, our only land neighbor, we would like to not be the people that we are always fighting with, if possible, because there's another neighbor right on the other side of them called China that we are also concerned about. Thank you, Chadwick. It is the International Olympic Competition Committee, which anyway, yeah. So, where was I? Right. So, there's a lot of people in South Korea that aren't happy about it, especially because South Korea had been putting in a ton of time in its hockey team to try to win a single game at the Olympics. They have a terrible hockey team. They do bad against even like smaller teams from like colleges and stuff. But they got a coach from Canada, put in 4 years of really hard training, and are hoping to win. Their goal was to win a single game. A lot of people believe that they are not going to be able to achieve that if they add in North Korean athletes. There's also the concern that if you do this, so if South Korea does this, they said, yeah, sure, we'll bring you in, we will walk in under one flag. If we win, our national anthems will be played. We'll walk out under one flag, as a symbol of moving forward. And what people see that as is South Korea saying that what North Korea has been doing is okay. Like, if they accept this, if they go into the Olympics together, this peaceful event together, that it is South Korea condoning the actions that North Korea has done over the last, well, I'm just going to say like 10 years. And all of their activity that has happened recently, especially with like their nuclear and missile-based actions. And that's why Japan is extremely unhappy. They're the ones that have had the largest threat from those missile tests, because the missile tests have went over Japan. And so that upset, like that alone, Japan was like, holy crap, no. And then North Korea was like, hey, South Korea, now that we have bombs, like good ones, do you want to be friends? And South Korea is like, sure. And that's why people are upset. And so, like, there's a good reason to be upset. But one of the things that I talked about with when Donald Trump came into his office, into presidency, was that he had we were concerned that he was talking to North Korea, that he was talking to Russia, and I was like, you know what, we may not agree with what is happening in those countries, but let's not pretend we are in a position to change what happens in those countries, because the world's a big place and America isn't the whole world. But what I did say that I hoped for with Donald Trump's presidency and with his conversations that he was having with Russia and North Korea was that we could find a peaceful solution to those conflicts, to those issues, and we have not found them, and now we've just been escalating both of those situations, which is bad. Like, one of the ways that you can help North Korea is by if tensions go down and access to North Korea opens to a point where you can begin spreading culture into that country and helping its people. Like, sure, I don't agree with anything of the North Korean government, but the reason that I am upset with the North Korean government is because of what they are doing to their own people. If there's a way to help their people, even if it doesn't overthrow their government, I am concerned about their people. Because much like Puerto Rico, there's not billions of people in Puerto Rico, but there are billions of people in North Korea that are having a horrible time because of things that are happening. And us doing a giant dick fighting contest with bombs does not help them. And North Korea knows how much of a bad situation they're in, which is why people do believe that they're trying to get out of it by going through these peace talks with South Korea. But there's so much, well, it could be this. They could just be doing it because of this, or this, or this, or this. At this point in time, if it will de-escalate the sheer tension that is happening between some countries, like, let them go to the fucking Olympics, because Jesus Christ, I don't want people being blown up. Chadwick says the Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono, I hope I pronounced that right, I probably didn't, said the world should not be naive about North Korea's charm offensive over the Olympics. It is not time to ease the pressure or to reward North Korea. The fact that North Korea is engaging in dialogue could be interpreted as proof that the sanctions are working. Right, exactly. They could be reeling from the sheer amount of problems that are generated from the very harsh sanctions that are placed against them and are now looking for an out. Another part of it that I thought of earlier, and I'm not trying to come to North Korea's defense here, just playing devil's advocate for a point, is that America is, like, I love America. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love America. Like, I'm a super patriot. Most, like, if you are one of the people who are closer to me, you know that I'm one of the fuckers that's like, America, yeah, fucking yeah. Like, like, my family's military. I have a brother that is a captain in the military. Like, fucking yeah, I love America a lot. I am one of those guys that'll friggin', like, walk out waving a goddamn flag because I am that guy. However, I am also real aware of what America is, and that is that we're assholes, and that we like to shove people around. Like, if you don't agree with America, we come in and fuck your shit up. And so it doesn't surprise me that North Korea was like, God, fuck you, fuck America, build bombs. They don't like bombs. And we're like, no, get rid of those bombs. No. And then they quickly got bombs together and they went, back off. We got it. We got bombs now. And then America went, fuck, they got bombs now. What do we do? I don't know. Threaten them. They got bombs. Fuck, what do we do now? I don't know. And then North Korea, is huddling with its bombs going, South Korea, can we be friends? You want to be friends? Please? America's still glaring at us. We got bombs. You want to be friends? You want to go to the Olympics together? Yeah? Okay. That's right. Fuck off, America. We'll do things our way. You don't own the world yet. All right. Let's go to the Olympics with South Korea. Like, that's kind of what my perception of it was as it continues forward. Like, they built their bombs. They got their bombs now. And now they're looking at doing other things that isn't building bombs, like the Olympics, and maybe trying to get out of these sanctions. Because, like, America likes to beat the shit out of people. We bomb countries all the fucking time. Like, so part of it, I think, is North Korea trying to retain a level of its own independence from the big bad wolf that is North America, that comes around and knocks on people's doors. North America, the United States of America. Sorry for lumping you in with us, Canada. So, I mean, obviously, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the North Korean regime. I don't know what their mindset is, what their goals are, or anything like that. But I also know that America, throws a lot of literal flames around and intimidates people into doing things our way. So, what happens next? Don't know. It's going to be a real interesting year. All of 2018 is going to be real. Wow, I said I wasn't going to go to 45 minutes. I am already at fucking like 35 minutes. Good God, I can talk. Anyway. Chadwick says, whatever, Canada is America light. I don't know if Canada would agree with that. We are their really noisy downstairs neighbors that they just tolerate. They like us, kind of. They think we're cute. They're like, look at them with their guns. Look, there they go. All right, who wants some more maple syrup? And Chadwick also says, think about it this way. Look at Saddam Hussein. Look at Gaddafi. Look at anyone who's really fucked with America and couldn't defend themselves. Yeah, we blew them the fuck up. Like, we fucking shot Osama bin Laden in the head. Saddam Hussein was hung by his own people because we came in and was like, you need to fucking hang that guy. What if we don't? We're going to fucking hang that guy. And they're like, all right, Saddam. Kirk. Like, so, I mean, yeah, that's us. But now North Korea can, they can defend themselves to a point. They have weaponized themselves well enough to make us not be able reasonably to shove them around however we want. Like, we've done shows of force. We surrounded their country with military warships, and they told us, stay out there for a moment. We're going to finish building this bomb. Okay, look, we got real big bombs now. Fuck off. And America, has had to, back off a bit. Because, like, what are we going to do? Let them, wipe a massive city off the face of the planet? At that point, like, if that ends up being our fault, fuck, we suck. Like, I'm all for, shooting our guns and touting around all of our, cojones and shit, but not when it results to the massive loss of life and the continued, what's the word I'm looking for? The continued loss that is a result from a nuclear bomb going off. Like, Japan is still suffering in some ways from the World War II bombings. So, anyway, I have talked a lot, and that's that topic, so I'm going to go ahead and go into post-show now, because good God, apparently I can yap. Anyway, if you're looking for what I cared about in the last 24 hours, things I cared about were new ways to support us. I really, even if you, like, I like trying new browsers. Like, I tried Edge when I first got Windows 10 because I was like, let's see what you got. Because, I used to use Firefox all the time, and then someone was like, you should really try Chrome. And then I got into Chrome, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Chrome's pretty freaking nice. Also, but Chrome also eats up RAM like a motherfucker because that's what it does. And so I'm going to be trying out Brave for quite some time to see what I think about it. And also, I really like that they are offering another way to support people. Like, we get a lot of our monetary support through Patreon, which is great. We appreciate all of our patrons. Thank you to our massive patrons this month, which are Zachary Klutz and Kitten of Moenkeo. Thank you so much for your support that resulted in Nathan shaving his face. Thank you for the continued support of everyone else on Patreon. We love you. We appreciate you. If you are wondering how much support you are giving us, because one of the things we ask for, is if you can manage $1. If you can pull a dollar out of your pocket or out of your credit card or your debit card or whatever once a month and send it our way, that is equivalent to you roughly, okay, obviously this number, like, that is roughly equivalent to you watching around, it's like 1,000 videos on YouTube is what that is equivalent to every month. Because the way that monetization works on places like YouTube is CPM, clicks per 1,000. And so what that means is how much money the creator gets based on how many views they get. And realistically now, especially because YouTube has had massive monetization and ad issues over the last year from advertisers pulling their ads off YouTube, realistically, unless you are on Google Preferred, which is their preferred program for their top tier creators, if you even are able to make it as a YouTube partner, which they recently changed their rules to make that immensely more difficult, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 viewing hours over the last year. Now, that doesn't mean you need to have 4,000 videos. You just need or have 4,000 hours worth of video. People have to have watched 4,000 hours. So if it's a 1 hour video, if 4,000 people watched it, boom, you're there. But that can be difficult for a lot of smaller creators. And even once you get there, the way that YouTube works, one, a lot of videos don't get ads unless they're over 10 minutes or don't have good CPM or good revenue unless they're over 10 minutes because of what YouTube has done recently. But so a realistic CPM is 1,000 views on YouTube can be $1. And so when you see people that you're like, man, this guy got 50,000 views, that's pretty good. He probably made $50. And that's why you see people that are trying to crank out content. Now, like, a good CPM is like $5. So if they make 1,000 views, they get $5. And, on 50,000 views, that's significantly better. That's $250. And that's why the true money is in the people that have millions of views or billions of views. Because then they're making significantly more money off of those views. But so if you think of $1 as 1,000 views, if you support us $1 a month, $12 a year, that is the same as 12,000 people watching us on YouTube. We make more money than some creators on YouTube that are larger than us that do not have another way of monetizing their content. And that's why it is important for us to look at as many avenues as possible, because ads are not a good way to make money anymore. That's why we have Patreon. That's why we're looking at Brave with the basic attention token. That's why we're going to be looking into merchandise for you guys, because I mean I don't know what the number is, but like, let's say we put a t-shirt out on one of the services and it's $20. You buy that t-shirt for $20, we probably will end up getting like $8 of it or something like that. That is significantly better than we can hope for from anything else. So look into those. Look into Brave. Keep an eye out for any merchandise that we end up putting out, or please consider supporting us at Patreon, which is patreon.com/dailyinternet. Other ways you can help the show immensely: 5-star reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. Chadwick asks, is there a way we can make single donations instead of the sub model? Yes, although it is not as great as I would like yet, because right now almost everything is hooked to my email, and it really needs to be on another email, but I actually really despise the show's email. I don't like feedback.ireadit. I want a better email for the show, and I've been trying to figure out how to get one that I'm happy with. If you want to make a single-time donation, right now Patreon, when Patreon pays out, it goes to a PayPal account, and that is my PayPal account right now. So if you want to make a single-time donation, currently I'll put it right here in the chat for you as well, Chadwick. Just send it to our PayPal account. Everything for the show goes through this PayPal account. I only use it for the show now, even though it's still connected by my name. So schwannmichael@gmail.com. Just if you want to make a single-time donation, put it through into PayPal through that way. That's the best way in terms of making sure the money is for the show, because, like I said, PayPal now is only for the show. So otherwise, I will be looking to actually get some things changed around, but I have a lot of work to do in terms of everything that we want to do, especially because 2018, I know it's real cliche, but we're like, 2018 is going to be our year. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but we're going to put in a lot of work this year and hopefully see a lot of changes by the time we are sitting here again next year. So that'd be the best place to make a single-time donation to the show. That'll go into the PayPal. That's how we paid for Nathan's microphone. That's how we pay for ads. That's how we pay for a lot of things that come out of the show, especially like our hosting fees. Everything that we can push through PayPal ends up being pushed through PayPal. If we can't push it through PayPal, then I pay for it personally and then reimburse myself. Because, yeah, it's great times. Otherwise, though, as I was working on saying, 5-star reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play help us immensely. That's a great way to help the show gain visibility. Of course, you can share the show on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of those real good. If you have any way to promote us on any of them, even if it's just sharing a single post, if it gets in front of more people, we appreciate you immensely. And we are at iReadit Cast on all of those. If you got stories you want us to talk about, it could be a news story from 6 months ago. We don't care. We have a subreddit, which is our iReadit Cast, as well as a email, which I was talking about earlier, feedback.ireadit@gmail.com. And, well, holy shit, that was 45 minutes. If you got tired of listening to me yak, I understand and I apologize, because I thought the show was going to be like 20 minutes, and I just sit here and kept talking for 45 minutes. So, let me know what you thought about me going solo for 45 minutes, and that's it, everybody. That is your 416th dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwahn. Nathan will be back with us the next time. We will not have a show tomorrow, which is Thursday, January 18th. One, because I assume Nathan's still going to be recovering, and two, because I have family stuff to take care of. After that, though, we shouldn't be missing shows for quite some time. There's nothing else that's coming up that should interfere with the show. So that is it, everybody. Please be sure to take care of yourselves. Have a good day. Keep an eye out for the crazy weather that's been going on, because climate change is a thing, and that's what leads to crazy-ass fucking weather patterns, which is why it was 20 degrees in Florida and 65 degrees in Alaska, because that makes sense. All right. That's it. I'm going to stop talking. All right. Have a good day, everybody. And please remember, everybody.
Don't get eliminated!
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.